Today, we're going to look at the example of too low. Now, too low took a low blow, but fortunately the low blow didn't land in the no-go zone. And he's not going to be in trouble with the popo even though he was on the dro. But he will have to go and now have his pants sewn. And fortunately, too low was not hurt in this incident. It will give you every reason you need, hopefully, to go out and get that holster. I'm also going to talk about everything wrong with this situation. Now look, I'm not somebody that's here to really pass judgment on people that make mistakes. Things do happen. But the problem with this is there's so many unavoidable mistakes. That's really what we're going to focus on. All right, so again, we can all kind of learn from this and use this situation as one that fortunately didn't end up worse than what it was. It was simply just an incident, and we can all kind of take something from it, hopefully. But of course, I want to hear your opinion. No matter if you agree or disagree with me, let me know down below. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So I want to show you guys the video first, but just a little backstory. Too Low is a rapper that's been around a long time. I think he was signed in like 92 at 12 years old to Rap A Lot Records. They had a falling out, they had a lawsuit, but now he has his own record label. So the guy's been around a long time. He's on a podcast one-on-one with Mike D. This is how that situation played out.
We got in life, those were your choices. Who shot who?
So they're talking about life choices, right? And the gun goes off. Now, as far as what kind of gun it is, I think it's something like maybe that new Ruger LCP2. You kind of see the breaks in the grip texturing. That's about the best thing I can tell from the gun. You can obviously tell it's out of battery too, by the way, after the shot goes off, which is, kind of normal because you have all the friction from the inside of his pants, against the slide. So, but he actually pulls the gun out for just a second and he's trying to engage that safety. They put a new kind of safety on there where you actually push it forward to fire. And if this is that gun, either way, no matter what kind of gun it is, we'll talk about that. But if it is that gun where you push it forward to fire and it's in your pocket without a holster, this is a combo that is set up for complete disaster, because all it takes is just one little action really to be able to push that thing outside of your pants, inside of your pants, and boom, the safety is off. So you can see he's like either pushing it up or slightly up and backwards a little bit. It's a little bit hard to tell exactly what kind of gun it is. That's just my guess. I may be totally wrong, but regardless, it is a gun with the safety. It's not a Glock, so we can kind of count that out. But it's also a gun that's out of battery with no holster inside fairly tight pants. Now, when you look at his pants, by the way, it looks like maybe this isn't the first time he actually put a hole through them. That's a joke, by the way, but you can clearly see that he puts a clear hole in his pants when the gun goes off. Now, I don't know exactly what he was reaching for in his pocket. Maybe a lighter would be my guess, but either way, either he disengaged the safety when he went to go, in his pants, or it had been disengaged before that. Either way, he got extremely lucky. Nobody got hurt, fortunately, and so that's always a good thing. Now, the reaction from Mike D, I think, was kind of hilarious and very calm, right? Nobody freaked out.
Who shot who? Somebody got shot?
Too Low had that look of like, oh my God, on his face, but nobody freaked out, which is kind of one of the positives from this whole situation. Now, there's a lot of different things that are combined that make this situation even worse. The type of pants he's wearing, probably not ideal, but again, you don't want to draw too much, attention to yourself. So even though they might be a little bit tighter, I don't think they're skin tight, but even though they might be a little bit tighter, dressing around your gun isn't necessary if you have the right tools to go along with it. So, but reaching inside of your pants now with an unprotected trigger guard, that's a whole different story. And really, even, depending on the type of holster, carrying anything inside of your pants on the same side or in the same pocket as the gun, never a great idea. Some of those small little canvas type holsters, the pocket holsters, like what Ruger gives you with the LCPs, fairly secure. I just don't trust those things at all, right? They can slide out of that little canvas, right? It could happen. And so if you get anything in there that's small or skinny enough, whether that be, maybe even a knife or a pen or anything, I think keeping that pocket for just your firearm and your holster is ideal. Now, there's a lot of things combined here that make this a bad situation, or make it even worse, right? There's a lot of things that just went wrong here. One of which is the pocket that he's choosing. I don't think his pants are like overly tight, right? And I'm not somebody that thinks you have to dress around your gun either, right? Just looking normal and conspicuous, I think it's totally fine. But he's reaching in his pocket for something, right? So we know he's carrying something else in that pocket. Even a gun in a holster in a pocket, I don't recommend ever carrying anything else or anything else inside of that pocket with it. All it takes is a pin that gets in between the holster and the trigger guard. If you have one of those canvas type of pocket holsters or whatever, and it just accidentally comes out just a little bit. It could be a knife. It could be anything that could inadvertently maybe push the holster down enough where now the trigger is exposed, or could get into that trigger guard as you're carrying and cause a situation like this. Now, when you see him reach in his pocket, his finger did go straight to the trigger. That's kind of obvious, right? So whatever he's reaching around for, he either thought that was the item, whether that was a lighter or whatever he was reaching for, or it's just bad finger discipline as far as reaching straight to the trigger. That's another thing. Obviously, when you're practicing drawing from a holster like that, keeping this position, essentially, you have your grip, right? And when you're in a pocket, it's a little bit tougher now. So I just want people to know this if you do pocket carry. But reaching in there and having this finger ideally on the side of the gun, just like it would be if you were at the range or drawing from inside the waistband or even appendix carry, you want to make sure you have that finger off of the trigger. It's on the side of the gun at all times, no matter if you're drawing or not, all the way up until when you start presenting the gun or when you have it presented at the target, whatever that may be. That's when you actually want to have your finger on the trigger. Now, one thing he did do that was correct is having a round in the chamber. This is always smart, right? Especially trying to dig around in a pocket. If you're not really super efficient with that, it's going to take you a little bit extra time as opposed to appendix or maybe even your strong side. And so that part of it is good, but a round in the chamber, a fairly light trigger pull, the safety is off now without a holster, and boom, that is a recipe for disaster. Plus something else in his pocket that he's reaching for. So if Tulo or anybody else needs recommendation on a good holster, it's the best option that I've ever used. Now, no, they don't make pocket holsters, but a little gun like that, whether it's an LCP or this gun isn't a Glock 43, but if it's a 43, a 42, a 26, a Shield, an LCP Max, whatever it may be, put it in a holster, it will click into place, and you never have to worry about this incident or an incident like this happening. He could have had it on his strong side, had his pockets with whatever he wanted in there, and been totally good to go. This is another reason that I really like carrying on your strong side. But if Tulo or anybody else needs a discount on a good, solid holster, make sure you use the link down below and the discount code HEG87. That'll save you a lot of money and a lot of embarrassment or potential medical bills or worse. So it is really a small investment when you think about it like that. Plus, a good holster is going to keep it in the same spot every time, right? So the gun, when you're, you just throw a gun in your pocket, right? It could be down, it could move its way up. You want it in a consistent spot all the time. Yeah, it's going to be in that pocket, but reaching down all the way into your pockets, not a good look. You have it on your strong side, whichever side that may be, and boom, it's always at the ready. You get that garment out of the way, and you're good to go. So I think tactically, it's a better thing to have your gun on your strong side as opposed to in a pocket. And with a gun that small, dude, it's going to be like carrying pretty much nothing as far as the weight. So that's good as well. And again, it's going to be, of course, secure. The other part about this that some of you may not agree with, and that's totally fine, is the fact that he is about to use a little plant that a lot of people use for medicinal purposes or otherwise. Now, on a personal level, I got no problem, but gun owners are held to a higher standard. Whether you think that's fair or not is besides the point, right? On your 4473, when you go to fill that out, that is a very specific question on there, and it's mentioned by name as well. So no matter how your state looks at it, on a federal level, it is still illegal. So you got to be really, really careful with having both on you, especially. Now, fortunately, in this video that I'm going to talk about, you're going to see how judges are actually going against the federal government. It's actually really interesting. I don't want to give too much away. But anyways, the only problem I have is that it will alter your mind, your thinking just a little bit. It's going to make your judgment potentially a little bit more cloudy. People will say, absolutely not, I'm totally fine, I'm totally normal, and that's, if that's how you feel, that's okay. But anytime you mix anything that can potentially alter the way you think, and something like a gun, it's hardly ever a recipe for anything good. That's why even people that drink, you don't drink and then handle your firearm, because it makes for a dangerous situation. I'm not saying they are the same thing, and I'm not saying that I think all gun owners or no gun owners can ever use that, especially for medicinal purposes. I'm not saying that at all. I think the government should be out of your business, but just understand that it can make small changes to your perception, and in a self-defense situation or in a situation where you're pulling your gun, to be of clear mind is the best way to go for sure. So it's not like I'm trying to pile on, but I think we can all use this as an important video, a good selling point for good holsters as well, and just keeping a clear head and always practicing safe gun handling techniques. And it's just as simple as that. Tulo knows that he made a mistake, and hopefully from here he'll get a Tulster holster, start carrying on his strong side, and he can use the discount code to save a little bit of money. And so can you. There you go. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear yours down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you in the next one, and as always, hold them down.